5. A geometric pattern of evenly spaced, repeating, overlapping circles of equal radii in two-dimensional space. Resembling a mandala, it's a sacred geometry blueprint representing the primordial desire for completion and unity of self. For this reason, Phaedo 5 adopted the flower of life to graphically depict the quantum nature of its 5 elemental lines of skincare. Like the tangible flower, the flower of life blooms too, radiating the first vibratory patterns of the universe, showing us that all things emerge from one perfectly organized pattern. The geometric pattern of the flower of life represents the essential concept of quantum physics. Phaedo 5's energetic 5-element lines vibrate with a potency that registers in the quantum range of frequency. The flower of life is used as a focus both for study and meditation, but it should not only be viewed as a thing outside of and separate from ourselves. Follow for more or gain insight to add energy medicine to your healing practice. Go ahead and visit tonyadee.tv/Phaedo-5 or email info@tonyadee.tv, and I will see you on the other side. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic being.
Inshallah and Ashe. Again, blessings to you on the live show. It is a talented Tuesday, or a terrific one. So did you expand your believing and also expand your ability to receive, or were you at least able to? So with that, while we're waiting for people to hop onto the show, dive into the replay, I did have a little hiccup earlier. I don't know if you saw that, but really great. Just taking a moment for that breath and again, that pause. Being embodied, climbing into our skin. Who doesn't love divine connection, heart-induced, treating ourselves as the divine would, the great spirit, the oneness, whatever you want to call it. What does that feel like? And seeing ourselves in and through those eyes, the eyes of that prophetic insight, that ancient wisdom. The crown is actually online today by Divine Design. Say that 5 times. So having our soul kind of fertilizes and making our connection to spirit more nutritious, enhanced, even supplemented by this nutrition, fertilized soil, I guess. So what's the serene, otherworldly sensing of this? What are you sensing or intuitively being gifted? So we are kind of more in this essence of how we treat ourselves, kind of being really induced by spirit, being more compassionate, self-nurturing, self-forgiving. So I would say by divine design, self-spiriting, spirited, even feeling our spirit. What does it really feel like? You know, we can often feel our soul, but sometimes that spirit and spirited connection is the opposing energy, right? And through these streams of self-forgiveness and streams of spirit, just personal streams of that, we stream into the past, forgiving the past treatment of ourselves, even the backpack, like letting it just go. And the goddess of the night is actually in her home. She's musing in there, dancing with Mars. And our emotions may be expressing in a recalibrated fullness, a full way, the bounty of the goddess of the night. Emotional treading, like treading in those emotional bubbling waters. Home, the foundation, right? The moon's home. With that, welcome to today's Daily Snippet. Once again, I am your host. I'm a practicing holistic shaman medium, an otherworldly life coach, and a subtle energetic surgeon, a reflector by design. And I do go by the term holistic shaman medium, which is just a choreography, a merging of them all. My intention is to utilize the indigenous technologies of my elder, Melodoma Some, the elemental, the imaginal realms, our original divine blueprint, really to navigate and choreograph our soul's harmonic through all of these realms, dimensions, portals, and all the things, quite honestly, the cosmos included, and the elemental realm, our energetic centers with offerings, prescriptions, and rituals. The otherworldly kind, they really are probably seen as quite strange until you start doing them and you get that connection to really add to the juice of our main stage container. The origin. Rituals are really the origin. They are food for our soul. They bring us into our essence, our personal medicine, our gift and purpose. Everybody has it. Prime directive, so that we shine brighter, especially in this cosmic energy hiccup right now. My name is Tonya Dee, and welcome to my virtual medicine room. And if you have yet, of course, to subscribe to my channels, please do. YouTube and Musing with Tonya Dee, my podcast, been out for a while. I'd appreciate that, a gratitude and a blessings. So the season of Aries really is about who we are inside of us, like how do we treat ourselves? It's all things in the first house. It's our image, it's our persona. But before we go any further down that little white rabbit, let's give a shout out to all the peeps entering the village, the community, getting new subscribers. Thank you. A big shout out, a voice of acknowledgement and a validation. I appreciate that. New friends and guests arriving and tuning in, new subscribers, and also those of you that have been on my journey since the beginning. I know it's been a wild ride. And you that do turn into the replay later. It really does take a village or a tribe in this galactic universe, and that's just part of my gift. Part of my purpose is literally innovating the world, society, humanity, seeing things through a different eye, different insight. And so that's kind of part of what I do. And if you don't mind, of course, hitting the bell button along with the white rabbit so you're notified when I do go live, the white rabbit being the white button. And just remember a comment if you do feel that you are in need of a message for your day. I have been pulling a daily message lately. Sharing is just another way of paying it forward, right? Paying it forward. You could, of course, always also find me on TikTok. Just remember that I am your otherworldly shamanic reflecting assistant. You truly are your own healer. But sometimes we get in the crossroads. We get in our own magical way. And we do need an otherworldly life coach assistant to see through a different set of eyes so we can get in the flow. And the daily snippet, what's this all about? Well, I like to bring in the cosmic insight, the planets by divine design. We are also a part of the other world, the old earth, and design. I utilize the lunar energies by design, reflectors, following the moon through the seasons and the gates. Pretty curious there, and the season. So I look at it quite differently. Part of the reason I do go live is because as a reflector, I need to be in the right place with the right people. So I have to keep my energetic field very cleansed. So I clean my auric field quite often. But our root center is online. So it's not just, it's the feeling, it's the physicality, it's physical stuff, physical empathy, rooting our intentions, our manifestations, not just from the root center, but also down into the earth star. So they kind of have to do a blend. I see this as even the zone, the red zone, if you're part of Secrets of the Other World, through the crown today. That's where all this is calibrating. And the elementals, the 4 pillars, I do a mystery guest on Sundays, all about your 4 pillars. So if you want to tune into that, I do that in my private group on Facebook, kind of re-choreographing that as well. All this choreography is moving for me. The subtle energies as well, the chakras, I think by divine design, they're connected to not just the elementals, but they're also connected into our astrology, our planets by design, and the channels, the pathways, the meridians. I like to look at those when I look at the 4 pillars as well. So I know which ones are overly activated, which ones need to be stimulated. It's all about healing and bringing us into balance, basically, utilizing elementals and even the auric fields. But being that we are in this corridor, we're upgrading how we treat ourselves. Like, who am I and how do I treat myself? And how do I allow the outside world to treat myself? It's going kind of inside to outside. It's our inner posture. It's our imagery, how we're seen in the world. So feelings that may stream in may feel a little bit topsy-turvy today. Maybe you get like a gut feeling or something. As with all things, the universe does this on purpose. Like, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. It's that kind of a day. So how often do we really sit down and really journal or scribe whatever is coming in, getting those downloads, whatever it is. It could be an emotion, it could be anger, because that's kind of associated with the energy of wood, also the season of Aries. It may be drama, could be chaos. Again, the Dagara cosmology, we're in the transitional season. Maybe you're feeling a little lazy, maybe you have lack of life, maybe you're even feeling competitive. So anything that has stopped you from starting a project, going out on an adventure, or even finishing a project, or going out into an adventure, simply doing something that you have never ever done before, but you've thought about it. So sometimes the magic is in the uncomfortable. We have to get into these unfamiliar. Whenever we're on this precipice of great change, great transformation, just allowing ourselves to go on this emotional express train or roller coaster, screaming out into the universe, all of that unfiltered anger or frustration, literally invoking, using our voice, and really getting it out of our body, like filtering it through. So you may even have to do maybe some kickboxing or hit a punching bag or go kick a stone, something of that kind of nature. The intention really is to activate this inner fire, the yin fire. and surrendering to all of it, all of the things for healing, transmutation, healing and transformation. I'm thinking of another one. But either way, if you don't need to, or if you can't get out kicking and screaming, you're kind of in that corridor of just being in the zone of neutrality, the zone of peace, just being out in nature and collecting yourself and observing how you feel along with nature. Honestly, nature is our greatest healer, just being out in nature. So whatever it is, it's the endeavor to transmute and using the element of fire to alchemize us, to motivate ourselves. Our inspirited energy, the crown energy, subconscious, intuition, they're all kind of, our attention is gravitating there. It's mixed with the root channel as well. So you may have some inner triggering coming from the subconscious realm, subconscious feelings. These are kind of like our energetic alert signal, if you will, a warning, a perceived threat, even coming from our intuitive and psychic gifts, even our guardians, our gatekeepers. So the main stage is taking zero action, being in the zone of neutrality, emotional neutrality in a way, and be in a state of observership, seeing things through a different set of eyes, surrendering to our higher self in the Dagara, our Sira, what we look like on the other side, literally sheathing our sword, being an observer. It's not going to feel familiar. The waves are wandering. So it's like, are we ready to bring about our Sira, our higher self, what we look like in the other world? Are we ready to really utilize our ancient wisdom, putting it all in this cosmic soup, these ingredients, adding our habits, new habits into the soup, new ingredients on how we authentically are treating ourselves? Because we're in this year of transformation, change, shifting into being our true authentic selves. So it's a moment to surrender the control of the outcome and just handing it over to our inspirited self, our higher self, along with the universe, the great spirit source, the oneness, whatever resonates for you, instead of forcing ourselves to do something or being overly pushy, forceful within ourselves. So really tuning into your spiritual self and intuit what your higher response could be, going to the waters, add some apple cider to those waters, apple cider vinegar, call in the great spirit, invoke your Sira, your higher self, as you're speaking into the waters. It's a perfect remedy for a day like today. Adding in the self-forgiveness, getting into the flow, like it's about the waters actually. So if there's one thing that our root center is great at, it's our spiritual ego on a day like today. It's making mistakes, inspirited mistakes, spiritual ego mistakes. However, we're not so great at being in a state of allowing and surrendering and getting into the flow, forgiveness, mercy, being self-compassionate to our inner world. So we have all this other tendency that often happens. We're either self-sabotaging, we're self-loathing, we punish ourselves or hold on to things in the cosmic backpack, if you will, the past, our shadow records, those kind of areas coming into the Akashic, even scribing. So if you are able to utilize the energy of today to wholeheartedly forgive yourself for all of the things, oftentimes they're not any of the things. Creator doesn't look at us that way. Mistakes that you maybe feel that you've made with yourself, inside yourself. Maybe you feel like you've gone down the wrong path at a crossroads, but just make an effort today, be consistent, even if you have to imagine or vision that you are at that river doing a ritual, getting in the flow, cleansing, unpacking the backpack, or literally just dropping the whole thing away. You know, stuff in this world doesn't really gravitate to the other world once we transcend, right? It stays here in the physical. So there's no need to be extra hard on ourselves, really going to the waters, inner peaceful waters, and apply to our wounds. I had this vision while I was musing this morning. Apply to our wounds like a spiritual compression, not a band-aid, and you're kind of applying the ointment or infusing the wound, a spiritual ointment of compassion upon the wound, just allowing that energy of it. So be self-loving as you allow the wound to heal, things that you can't change. Be self-forgiving, forgiveness, knowing that we are forgiven wholeheartedly. So just a few announcements. If you haven't tuned into this week's episode of my podcast, oh, there she is, God's in a Box. That's why I titled the show today, God's in a Box, because it really goes with the energy today. And this was a great interview. Luciana, I always muff up her name, Luciana Passeri. Great shoes, by the way, too, if you go to her website. I would go to mine, TonyaDee.tv, and tune into that, and you can follow the links. But I would be checking out shoes, too, honestly, because they're handmade, they're crafted by the indigenous people of Peru. Like, they're beautiful on top of all the things. But it's also the title of her book, God's in a Box on My Dresser, which we left that part out, but I would really tune into that. So the places we go, it was a great interview, conversation. And again, I always want people to comment on their favorite show so I can have a podcast artist back return to the show. And then the 4 pillars, which I'll get to. The 4 pillars, I do a mystery guest, of course, in the Rising of the Origins, a private group on Sundays. And I'm also relaunching A Witcher's Way to Manifest, because manifestation, we all manifest differently. For myself, I have to believe in whatever it is that I'm launching, producing. If I can't believe in something, it won't. Not only will it not manifest, I cannot sell something I don't believe in, because it has to have integrity. That's how I function. I have to be in alignment. Just doesn't work for me. So again, I'm relaunching the beta for Witcher's Way to Manifestation. I'm kind of choreographing that right now. It's just an opportunity to join me, or and reintroducing it. And then, of course, we do have Mongolia. If you do wish to travel to the land, the medicine of the land, the spirits, and be with this indigenous tribe, this village, this community, great opportunity there happening in August. And I'm stoked about that. But on the elemental highway, this is why I went with fire. If you look at our day, we have a total inward journey. We've got a Yin Wood Rooster of a day. The rooster is trimming up our vines, all of this wood energy. It's like pruning the bonsai, but there's so much yin wood, too much of any element makes it overwhelming. So yin wood is the energy to make things happen, willing to be possibly overly accommodating in order to reach that end result. And the rooster really can't put a dent in all those vines, isn't able to prune them all. It's becoming dull. It's dulling the blade. And then we have water. And water's at the stage it's beginning to decline. So the peak time for water energy, yin water, is the season of the fall. And then it's beginning to birth the metal. Metal's at its peak, but in the winter, that's when water is at its utmost peak. Fire is at its decline, its weakest point. And metal is actually in discourse right now. So these elements are really fighting. The blade is dull with all that yin wood. And again, the rooster and the rabbit don't get along. They're bickering. So it really is an image that I'm trying to create. So what do we need? We need fire. We need our inner fires. We need our outer fires, yang fire, to burn some of that energy, that wood, creating ash, because we also need earth. None of this is rooted. We have no earth. We don't have anywhere where we belong or how we're identifying, or, it's all in transition. So again, fire creates ash, ash creates earth, earth also houses minerals and stones, the elements that are needed today, which really comes out, brings our message from yesterday forward, the Pachamama. That's kind of our card I pulled yesterday, Mother Earth, just being invited to take in the fullness of all those things, the gratitude to really have the blessings, right? But today, the message for today, if you didn't tune in yesterday, I'm only doing snippets of these, but yesterday we had Pachamama. Today we've got the arrow, the 3, which is believing, having boundaries around our beliefs. Like, what do you believe in your authenticity into your heart? How do you believe you should be treated? We're in the season of Aries. This is how we treat ourselves. Are you treating yourself with kindness? All that wood energy is kindness. Metal is courage. But we need fire. We need laughter. We need joy. We also need peace. We need all of these things, really, but it's about balance. So are we treating ourselves with some self-care about our beliefs? And oftentimes we need boundaries around our beliefs. Otherwise, people try to muck them up and tell them we believe wrong. Well, that's an opinion, so just flick that shit away. But the arrow in essence is a symbol. It's reminding us that when we are in alignment, when we are in the path, when we're in the flow with our heart, our soul, and I would bring in our spirit, that's when we are literally in tune. We are tuned up. We're on our path. And we're about to hit the mark, the goal, the end line, the end zone. So we're kind of being more authentic to our true essence, our calling, and releasing any attachments, which is kind of the backpack today, freeing ourselves, forgiving ourselves, being compassionate, being merciful. But it's also symbolic of our need to allow our creativity to flow freely. So today, the arrow is a message just reminding us that it's time. Now is the time. It's time to admit that while we're continuing down this path, the crossroads possibly that we may be on, we might be shooting ourselves in the foot or in the past. So it's even possible that we're kind of too attached to the outcome, to winning this game called life. It's all perspective. Maybe we feel like we've missed our mark, the true mark, our gift and purpose. Maybe we're not in alignment. So what if our arrow was never meant to land where we actually wanted it to? You know, that's the breath and the pause. Again, it's like, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. That's never going to work in a choreography. If you're a spiritual, psychic, gifted person, you know how that works. You're always getting tapped on the shoulder and pinned in the head. It's a pause point. But spirit is the guidance for our energy today, our spiritual ego today. It's a day to really apply that ointment, the ointment of compassion and mercy, infusing that into our relationship to ourselves. Like, are you being your own best friend? Spiritually instigated, forgiving ourselves for all of the past mistake. I would do a spiritual vital check-in, checking in with our higher self to see what guidance comes in, even where that guiding light is coming from. Like, what color is that light? How is our higher self, our Sierra? Is it guiding us to the higher escalated place? So if we would only take the pause, take the breath, go to our sacred space and really fine tune or tune in and just listen. Sometimes when we act out on one little fragment, one little hiccup, that's when the dominoes begin to flow, and then we are forever changed. Our lives are changed for forever time. So really allowing ourselves to be unhooked from the past of all the things, all the ideas of mistakes. So I would affirm that I am lighting up my crown all the way down. And with that, I'll see you on the other side, if not at least tomorrow. So again, Ashe, blessings to you, and I will make it a great day. Go do a spiritual ritual. Ashe, blessings.
Places. I'm in the front seat. He's in the back seat. We're going to a foundation project. He's like, hey, Luciana, you ever heard of ayahuasca? And as soon as he said that, no joke, my entire world went, oh, you know, I just, like, this vibration went through me. And I said, no, but how do I get it? I just knew that that was something I needed to try. And so it was, you know, we had that journey in Tanzania, and it was within 3 weeks after that, it was my first journey, Peru, to ingest ayahuasca. So really, plant medicine, though, is much more than ayahuasca. I did what's called a dieta in the jungle on a little island in the Peruvian Amazon. And the idea with a dieta, the quick and dirty on it, is it's not to diet, it's not to lose weight, right? It means you diet